in our last episode, we were talking about NAB, and you said a statement that one of our listeners picked up on, which was that you wanted to take the Canon PowerShot V1 and put it in your mouth. And I want to know, what other gear did you see at NAB that also made you want to put it in your mouth? You seem like you're struggling over there. I think it really stumped you with that one.
We saw the guy who put the smoke in his mouth.
Yeah, because he ran the hazer like into a glass and then drank it.
That seemed interesting.
Yeah, kind of like a low rent magician type situation.
They had some good candy at the B&H booth.
You took quite a bit of that candy. Actually.
I had like 4 or 5 pieces of that candy.
You kept
so
going back for that.
Definitely that. The pizza was okay.
The pizza's not camera.
I mean, the thing with the PowerShot V1 and most of Canon products is just that they're very round.
Indeed. Not as round as a lens.
Yeah,
but you don't really want to put a lens in your mouth.
You can't really put a lens in your mouth.
A little too big.
I feel like if I had spent more time with that Follow You robot, my mouth probably would have ended up on it.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that in public, so maybe that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You think like if you saw like an Insta360 Go, it's like a big pill. You think you'd consider like starting the recording and swallowing
I did think about whenever we saw the Insta360, the newest one.
Oh.
And I was messing with that. I was like, I'd put this in my mouth.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a big pill.
Yeah, so definitely that one for sure. I actually have a pin of that on my bag today.
No. Perfect.
True story.
I would not swallow the pin.
That would be dangerous.
Yeah, might have to go seek medical attention.
It's not like it's like a problem. I mean, it's not like I have the urge to put camera gear, all kinds of camera gear in my mouth. I'm not a 2-year-old. It's mostly.
Are you sure? I wonder sometimes.
It's mostly just those Canon cameras.
Yep.
They're just so ergonomic.
It's not even the Canon colors. It's just how ergonomic they are.
I don't know.
Well, fortunately for everyone there, you didn't stick anything in your mouth at NAB. So, because I was wondering if you'd cause a scene. If you just went around the show putting things in your mouth, how long it would take to get kicked out.
There's always next year.
There is always next year. Watch yourselves, brands. We're coming for you.
Yikes. So I have some really good news. And I don't know if you know, I think last time I went to F1, I was like, well, they don't usually let you bring in cameras. It's like been weird at COTA. About whether or not
our local F1 track, right?
Look, if the people who are listening to this don't know what COTA is by this point, I'll explain it. It's the Circuit of the Americas. Anyway, I was like, man, I did kind of want to put a camera in my pocket. I ended up bringing my Auto Boy Telequartz Zoom, and I still haven't developed those photos, and that was in October. Ugh, I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, because you shot that on film, so you got to develop it.
I have like 3 rolls I have to develop. I have a real problem. I moved, Daniel, and that's been my whole life. Anyway, I thought, it'd be fun and a little vibey to bring my old point and shoot if I can find it. And because I had this old Kodak point and shoot, and I couldn't even remember how much zoom was on it. I bought it in 2009 before I went to New York City.
Oh man!
And I was rearranging and cleaning and basically setting up the office in the new house today. Not today, last weekend. And I found a lot of things that I was missing. And one of them was the Kodak camera that I had misplaced. I don't even know how I found it. It was like in a box, and I had been looking for it for like months or whatever, trying to find this thing. And I was very, very, very pleasantly surprised that 1, I found it, and 2, it made it through the move.
Yeah. I mean, that is pretty shocking, honestly.
Why'd you put a GR in front of me?
I brought the GR because you have that camera sitting in front of you, and I was suddenly curious how it compared in size to the GR.
Well, it makes the GR look enormous.
It really does.
It's literally half the width.
Yeah, this Kodak camera you're talking about is substantially thinner than the GR.
Yeah, but the GR has an APS-C sensor in it. You know how big the sensor is in this camera? 1/2.3.
Wow.
It's real freaking small.
I mean, that's smaller than current iPhone.
Yes, it is. I didn't even think about that. It is smaller than a current iPhone. It's teeny tiny. Anyway, so whenever I bought this in 2009, I didn't know like about nothing about photography. I was just like, camera, yay. And
which is honestly like you've said that kind of thing your whole life, including to this day.
That's true.
That would be a good t-shirt.
Camera,
Just
yay.
camera, yay.
Yeah. Go ahead and write that one down, Daniel. Anyways, let's see if it makes a noise.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it made a chime when it turned on.
Lens popped out. Maybe you have the volume off or something.
Anyways, so I ordered a battery and I charged it and it just works. One of the issues that I found with this, so this is it's a Kodak EasyShare M341. Which
one of my first cameras was a Kodak EasyShare.
Nice. You can find it on eBay for somewhere between $8 and $50.
Perfect.
This is not a hot commodity.
What kind of memory situation do you have on this thing?
I have an SD card in it.
Oh.
I took a 2 gig SD card out and imported the pictures just in case I didn't have them. And I put an 8 gig in.
Nice.
So now I can take 12.2 megapixel photos. It only shoots JPEG. And the reason they call it an EasyShare is because it has this red button on the back and you press it and it will tag the photo so that whenever you plug it into your computer, it will automatically share those to the internet.
Wow. Where do they go?
I don't know.
Just out to the internet.
Just goes to the internet.
Every social media platform on the blockchain, just anywhere you can think of.
It's easy to share. Just think easy share. So that's what that button's for. I've never really used that in actuality.
It's
also supposed to fave them.
I think we've heard about your photo backup workflow.
Wow, Daniel. I think that if I hit the share button, it may fave them, and I'm wondering if they'll show up in Apple Photos as faved. It would be good if they worked with the metadata.
That would be cool.
It sure would. So one SD card slot has a brand new third-party battery. It has a tripod. Screw on the bottom, a 1/4-inch tripod on the bottom. It doesn't seem
centered. Well, it might be centered with the lens.
It's not centered over the lens. It is certainly not.
What kind of pro gear is this? Come on.
It's got a chip out of the battery door. Anyways, it is a 3x optical zoom, which I thought was very impressive.
And now you know what that means.
I do now know what that means. It also says 35 to 105 millimeter equivalent.
Ooh.
Also something I didn't know what it meant. I'm like learning this camera for the first time, and it's very exciting to see it with fresh eyes.
What did you say this thing is called?
This
Kodak
is
M341.
It's an M341 Kodak EasyShare in slate gray.
Okay, I just looked, and unfortunately, they don't make a small rig cage for this.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
I'm probably gonna figure something out.
I did search for that just to make sure.
I could get one of those V-mount plates though.
Good point.
Screws in the bottom.
Yeah. Camera would last for a year on that battery.
Yeah, it would. It's got a button for a flash, so I can turn the Z on or whatever. It's non-LED type flash, which totally works, on and off. And then it has a mode dial here on it. And I have video mode. This thing will shoot 480p.
Oh, yeah.
In 30 frames per second.
Wait, what did your camcorder shoot? Is it 480 or 720?
480.
So it's similar quality to your camcorder.
It has an auto mode, of course.
Of course.
It has a program mode. And whenever you go into program mode, you can... Hold on, wait. Oh, I got to go ahead and hit the menu button here to get into it. I can change the ISO speed. And I can change the sharpness, the color, and the white balance.
Ooh.
But the white balance only has like a preset 5 different versions, or it has auto, or like 3 different versions.
Not a K value here.
I also have focus modes for some reason, but I don't think they do anything.
Well, surely there's like a macro mode or something.
There is a face detect capture mode.
Huh. So what is the most manual you can do with this camera? Like, can you change the shutter speed in any mode?
No. I can go, I'd put it in program, and I can force the ISO to be low.
Okay.
There is a handshake mode, which is blur reduction.
Wait, so when you say handshake mode, it's not like for when you meet people in a business context?
No, that's a different mode. So there's a blur reduction mode. There's a sport mode to reduce the effect of fast action. So that's your high shutter speed mode.
Okay.
There is a panorama mode, which is very good.
This is your X-Band?
No, Daniel. Don't be ridiculous. And then there's a scene mode. And this is the main gist of what I wanted to waste everybody's time on and why this is a pre-show topic, because everybody should be riding the skip button right now. This is really not interesting. So I have to figure out how to use this thing. You have the center OK button to open up the scenes. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 18 scenes on this, Daniel.
That is a lot of scenes. There have been feature-length movies with fewer scenes than that.
100% true. And I'm going to tell them all to you right now.
Perfect.
Portrait, landscape, close-up, flower, sunset, backlight. Well, so you want to shoot backlight behind a person. Candlelight.
Oh.
Children. Use for action photos of children in bright light. Manor/museum.
Wait. What spell manor?
MANNER.
What do you think that means?
It's like a house, like
no, it's not.
Bruce, like the Bruce Banner Manor.
No, that's MANOR.
That's Manor. That's a city in Texas. This is for when sound and flash are not desired.
Oh, okay. That manner. It's like you're at a fancy dinner.
There's a high ISO mode for capturing photos in low light. I've used this one. Not very good. Panning shot for expressing speed of subject in motion.
That's going to be perfect for the F1 race.
Oh, yeah. See, if I had only found it. Night landscape, which is different than day landscape. Night portrait. Self-portrait. No. I have already tried this one.
Of course you have.
Fireworks. Snow. Beach. And text.
Wow. That is... it's a very expansive list of options.
I am somewhat of the opinion that it would be easier just to have manual controls.
Well, for you at Sherwood, it makes me wonder if there are people who bought cameras like this and became like frequent users of all these scenes. You know, like is there somebody that has all 18 memorized and they know which one to pick for each situation? You sure didn't.
I never used those scenes. I have some really good snow photos of my dog from 2010.
You telling me you didn't use the snow mode for that?
Unlikely. Pretty sure this thing just cruised in auto all the time, and I just turned the... I didn't know what I was doing.
Cruise in auto.
Mm-hmm. The fact that it does 35 to 105, though.
That's pretty good.
I do wonder a little bit if this camera is what caused my predisposition to the 35 millimeter equivalent focal length.
Because it was the widest it could go.
Because that's the widest it could go. And this is before like real cell phone photography. Like I had a freaking Samsung slidey thing or whatever back then. I didn't get like a...
Yeah, this was back when it made sense to have a camera like this.
Yeah, I mean cameras on phones didn't get good until what, like 2015, 2016?
No, it was before that. Come on.
Like good.
Like 2012.
No. In 2012, I guess I don't know what was new. I had a Samsung Captivate, Galaxy S1, effectively. That was like mediocre. Okay. Like my Galaxy S3 was good. Like it was okay.
Yeah. I just think 2012
was
Maybe
like that was
12. I think 2012 was around like iPhone 4 time frame.
Yeah.
And I feel like the cameras were getting okay.
They were getting okay. I mean, like we've talked about the success of the L whatever light camera.
True.
And those all tanked in like 2015, 2017. So anyway, I'm very excited to have this back in my hands and have an optical 35 to 105.
I would almost say the mode dial is almost the thickest part of that camera.
Almost. Do you want to hold it, Daniel? I added a wrist strap. It charges over barrel jack and USB, but it doesn't have a standard USB on it. It's
weird.
Some weird proprietary Kodak port, which I still have the cable for.
Whoa.
In
You're lucky
a
on
bin.
That.
Mm-hmm.
This is it's very small and light. I mean, you could definitely carry this around with you, more easily than you can most cameras.
I was gonna say I don't think they make cameras like that, but Panasonic just came out with a new point and shoot.
That's true.
And that one it zooms to like an infinity. It's whatever, like a 20x zoom on it or something.
I cannot believe you haven't tried the share button yet. Feels like you need to be trying that.
Gotta turn that flash on. It's next to the mode dial.
No, I think I like this horrible picture I took instead. Blurry. Love it. Wonderful.
It's incredible. It makes me so happy. I think the GR takes way better pictures, though.
I sure hope so.
Like substantially better pictures.
Seeing as the GR4 is what, $1,500 now, and you said you can get that one, the Kodak on eBay for like $8.
Yeah, I need someone to somehow break physics and make something as small as this Kodak, but that's like micro four thirds.
True. I'm also thinking we really need to compare that against the Deity NAB giveaway.
Oh my
camera.
gosh, that little tiny stinking thing. That thing's thicker than this camera.
It's 12 megapixels. I haven't taken any pictures with it yet.
Honestly, it probably takes better photos.
It probably does. I don't have a card in it right now, but we'll work on this.
We'll do a comparison between the Kodak EasyShare M341 and the, what is that, Deity Cam?
Yeah, I mean, mine has a little Deity splash screen when I turn it on because we got it from their booth. But
Yep.
Yeah.
Fun.
That is the hard hitting content that people come to the Camera Gear podcast for.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Welcome back to the Camera Gear podcast. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Lucas.
And we're here today to talk about the gear, software, and techniques we use to shoot photos and video.
It's just everybody wants to be hip and cool and have their point and shoot camera. And I have found my point and shoot camera from 2009. And so now I'm cool.
There is no telling, when we went to Japan and looked at the camera stores, there is no telling how many of that same Kodak camera there were on the shelves.
Probably, who knows?
Dozens. All right. We should talk about actual cameras, though.
This is an actual camera. It's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
People want to know. I can't stop looking at it. It's so much fun. It's tiny. Anyway.
It's got that fake plastic chrome on it.
I love it so much. Okay. I don't even know where to start here. I thought that we could categorize some of the NAB stuff into groups of topics.
Yeah, to try and go a little bit more in detail on.
Yeah, and so I kind of wanted to do broadcast stuff today. And so I've broken this into a few different things, and the first that I have here is really just the PTZ camera people that we talked to.
Yeah, there are like several brands that make those things.
Right, and predominantly the ones that we caught up with whenever we were at NAB were Marshall and Bolin.
I talked to Canon a little bit about theirs as well.
Canon has theirs. I know that Blackmagic has their little micro studio camera.
Well, that's not PTZ.
It's not a PTZ, but it's something we'd been looking at. I didn't realize that van that they had at Bolin's booth was like one of the products they were showing off.
Yeah, it was like a production van. We should have looked at it more. Like we should have gone in the van.
I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, I know.
And for some reason, that didn't even occur to me.
Yeah,
so
because they had like cameras mounted on the outside of it, and then I think you probably got the same email I did today, and that's why you know that. But they had like a whole like control and editing situation inside the van. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we've been looking at PTZs for the broadcast stuff that we do, and whether or not it's like maybe would be an interesting addition. And so getting into pan tilt zoom cameras that tie into a broadcast system has been once again just like a whole nother segment of camera.
Yeah. It's like there's whole new worlds to explore everywhere you look.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like, most of the specs on these feel a little bit like commodity, where it's kind of a matter of does it do 4K? Can it do 60? Can it do 30? Basically, can it do a broadcast frame rate? You don't really need more than 60. And then what is all the other things? Like, does it do SDI? Is it 12G? Is it 3G? Does it have optical? Does it?
A lot of them now too are, you're starting to see like NDI more, which we may mention later in this show, but like you're basically doing it over Ethernet.
Yeah.
Which is, I think when you're taking something and incorporating it into a broadcast setup, you have to start thinking about things like that, because you're not just going to, you ideally don't want to run a new cable for every camera. You want to think like what's going to work well with the setup.
Can you gen lock things together or whatever? And then where we saw like companies like Bolin, where they are trying to differentiate for things like you can do autofocus and can do like automatic tracking stuff.
Oh, the automatic tracking is actually, a lot of them do that now. Every company I talk to, like Canon and Marshall also offer that. Yeah, and it's clearly like I don't know how new it is, but it's clearly a big feature they're trying to push.
Sure.
Is you can lock this onto a person and it'll just follow them around. And I mean, you can think of a lot of cases where that would be handy to have.
Oh, for sure. And if 100% reliable, I would honestly prefer like, give the operator a break. Just like put it onto the thing.
I think what's nice about it is, even if I think you can maybe get away with fewer operators, like maybe not like zero, but if you've got people running cameras and they're picking up shots, it could be nice to have a PTZ camera that's, maybe like tracking whoever the presenter is, or, whatever's going on. And it's kind of just an extra safe shot that you have, and I mean, even if you're not using that all the time as like your hero shot, like it's just kind of like a bonus camera you have, and maybe you have one person that, you know, is dealing with that PTZ, but also dealing with other cameras. And, you know, you don't need like a dedicated operator for it.
Right. Which, like, I'm not obviously a proponent for taking people's jobs away with robots. It's better than AI. Kidding. Well, like volunteer productions or things where it's like, we want to do more, but we can't afford more people, or we want to do more, but we only have so many volunteers.
Yeah.
And maybe this, we want to do an additional like service or show or something where it's like, it's 8 p.m. on a Saturday and like we can't get enough people. It'd be great to have more angles. This enables a smaller team to be able to do a bigger production.
Yeah. I mean, you know, sure. I mean, when we do our episode on all the AI stuff at NAB, we'll talk about this a lot more. But one of the big things I kept hearing at the show about AI that I think also applies here is, you know, hopefully it's not really taking people's jobs as much as it is just making the end result better.
Right.
And with something like this, I can definitely see it that way, where if you're in a situation where you can afford to pay a certain number of camera operators, you're going to get a better result if you have those operators like there running cameras. But something like this, you know, it's a one-time cost, and it just gives you extra, like, you know, another camera angle. And super good bonus if it can do a little bit of tracking too.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully it just like improves the production, not necessarily, you know, taking people's jobs.
Yep. And I think for Bolin, their new camera was like an R9 or something. And it was like this 1-inch 20x optical zoom, 50 megapixel camera, which it was weird that it's 50 megapixel and I think it only does 4K. And you think that would be like an 8K solution at 50 megapixels, but maybe it's a matter of, you know, digital zoom or something like that.
Yeah.
It seems like where Bolin really stands out is their rugged outdoor cameras. And they have stuff that can do like full 360 pans, and it's IP67. And I didn't know that this is the camera that SpaceX uses out in the ocean whenever they're filming their rockets landing.
We saw that on that patch.
Yeah, and they were giving away patches. Yeah. And I got a patch with a Bolin camera and a rocket.
It's super cool.
I'm like, I was so pumped. I was like, this booth has patches, Danny. We have to go talk to them. And then we just learned about PTCs.
That kind of on a similar note, they also we're kind of showing off some stuff where it's an outdoor PTZ, which also these things have rain wipers on them, which is super cool.
Awesome.
But they had one that was clearly made for like a temporary setup, which I think is also an interesting concept.
Yeah,
like
for
you're
sure.
doing this event outside. They had this whole, you know, stand that you'd set up and, you know, presumably like a battery situation and stuff. And then the cameras on it. And I don't remember what it had, if it was like able to upload wirelessly or what the deal was, but you know, it's a neat concept of, you know, you're doing an outdoor event or you're doing a temporary setup. Like, what's a camera that you can just kind of like pop up really quickly and it can kind of run itself?
Yeah.
Kind of neat for that.
It's cool to have options like that where you can, if you're doing some sort of live broadcast situation, you can, you know, drop something, you know, okay, we're setting up for this thing, we're going to move it around, or it's not going to be the same place every time. It really makes it more accessible than just having a permanent angle somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
It's fun to have these little like adjustable remote control little camera angles.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I hope we get to play with some of those. You know, be neat to add some to our setup. And,
yeah,
cool.
it would be really fun. I didn't talk much I didn't talk at all to the Marshall people. You're like, I'm going to go talk to Marshall, and I forget what I was doing.
You were looking at bags. You were looking at Wander.
Is that what I was? Oh, I was. Yeah. Worth it.
Some things you have on here. You want to go through your notes, and then I'll take over.
I wrote, is it that Marshall like the amps?
Yeah, I wondered that too. It is not. It's a different company.
Different Marshall, so not the one.
This is Marshall Electronics, whereas the other one is just Marshall.
From the famous cover with the guy in the chair.
Obviously.
Yeah. Anyways, I wrote down, these all seem lame. There is a 4K 25x zoom, but they don't do the full 360 no scope. And it's like 3G SDI. It seemed like there's just a better low cost option. There was a lot of them that were under $1,000, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So they make some PTZs, but the cameras that were kind of interesting that I wanted to talk to them about are actually like little micro cameras that they make. So they make a number of these that are really, really small. And they seem like they're broadcast quality. They're built really well. And what's interesting is they support a lot of these pro features. So like it's this tiny, like for example, there's like a CV568 that's $750. It's 1080p,
2022 Best of Show.
But it's like it can do Genlock and supports NDI and it has a global shutter and like it has all
a global shutter.
Yeah, all these do.
And it's only $750.
And it's just like these little broadcast cameras where if you need, extra fixed camera angles that, aren't super obtrusive and, maybe not like your main shot, but just to get, extra angles of things, they're pretty affordable. Oh, they integrate really well with systems.
This is like really small. I'm looking at the back of this thing.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got an I/O port and a 3G SDI, HDMI, and a service, which is looks like a micro USB. But the HDMI is wider. It's basically 50% of the width of the back of this thing.
Yeah, they're really, really small.
Like, how small is it? It's the length and width of 2 HDMIs.
So if you think of like where that enables you to place a camera without being really obtrusive, like pretty interesting choices. If you say you're, filming like a show or something, you could put this on like a drum set or on like a keyboard or something, and it's not going to, be really distracting.
No, definitely not.
They have a CV370, which is $720. I think that one's also 1080p, but it's 10-bit 422. Like you're getting like a good signal out of that thing. They do make some 4K ones. There's a CV374. That one's almost $1,000. But it does 4K 60 and it uses CS mount lenses, which I haven't heard of, but so they've got some interesting stuff. It just seems kind of like what we were saying about the PTZ. It's kind of another world of cameras that we really haven't explored much, which is, kind of like broadcast ready, really small and like cheap cameras. Kind of interesting.
Feels like it can be a little overwhelming to find stuff like this.
Yeah.
I mean, these seem pretty good. They don't, I guess they're fixed angle type cameras.
Oh, yeah.
But like fairly cheap getting into it. I do wonder, like the Blackmagic, what is it called?
Micro Studio 4K G2 is their
Micro
latest
Studio
one. And that one has a Micro Four Thirds mount on it.
Right. Okay. So that one's like $1,095. So it is more, and you have to get a lens. But this thing has like 12G SDI and a higher resolution sensor. And is it a Micro Four Thirds sensor?
I believe it is.
Or is it a broadcast size sensor?
I think it's Micro Four Thirds. I could be wrong on that. But it's hard to tell between the Blackmagic and these what would be better. I don't know if the Blackmagic supports Genlock. I doubt it has a global shutter.
Almost certainly not.
Those are things. It's the Blackmagic one would be bigger than these. So
getting one with a global shutter would be pretty sweet.
Yeah,
it is a 4/3 size sensor for the Blackmagic.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if I was doing a broadcast where I know I needed a bunch of camera angles, it feels so cheap to just get a couple of these things to just pop up in different places. And I think matching color wouldn't be too challenging with other cameras. I asked them about that. I said, can you match these to, say like a Blackmagic Ursa? And the guy was like, if you can't match this to an Ursa, then you shouldn't be doing broadcasts. Like he was like real.
Wow.
Came in hot on that one.
Wow.
So they seem confident that you can. And, I wouldn't use this, like I said, I wouldn't use this as my hero shot. Like I like the Ursas and, getting, having a camera like that for your main, A-roll type thing. But I think these could give you kind of like a, D-cam, E-cam, additional angles. Kind of cool.
Very cool. So those were all pretty fun.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the static angle of the show. Blackmagic, which is just going to keep coming up because their booth was enormous, man.
Their booth was substantially larger than my house.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. But they released a lot. I mean, we've already talked about a lot of the stuff from Blackmagic already, but
and we will continue.
And it's just gonna keep bringing it up. But I wanted to touch on some of the just solely the broadcast things that they announced they brought to the show. One of those, obviously, like they came out with the new Ursa 12K 100G Ethernet 3D camera situation.
Immersive.
And I got to try a Vision Pro.
You did
with
the very first time, right?
First time putting on a Vision Pro, and they basically had a demo set up where it was the Ursa 12K 3D camera set on kind of like looking up over the NAB conference area.
I guess it's a 3D camera. They call it the Cine Immersive. And,
sure.
And it has the two lenses. I guess that is 3D. Yeah.
However you want to call it. I mean, 3D immersive. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway,
but it's not a 360 camera.
It's not 360, but it's like 8K to each eyeball. Basically, 180 degree view is what it seemed like, and they runs off of the camera. It runs 50 gigabits per second.
That's so much.
So they were running that to this capture card GPU thing that they had. That's a Blackmagic product. And then that's running Thunderbolt 4 out to a MacBook Pro, which was then processing through some software solution that I've already since forgotten to then feed out to the Vision Pro. And it's doing all of this in SMPTE 2110-22.
Yeah, which is their new thing. I mean, they announced a lot of products that use that.
It's really a bad branding.
Is it? Why is that?
Look, I mean, we were talking about other stuff. It's like, oh, can this do SDI or can it do NDI and all this sort of stuff? And I honestly don't really know what NDI is, Daniel. But
it's just video over Ethernet.
Well, so is SMPTE 2110-22.
I think people just call it 2110 to make it easier. And I mean, it's basically, I think it basically is a similar thing, right? Like it's really fast. I think it normally runs, like I think it's Ethernet, but doesn't it normally run fiber? Like most of the stuff we've seen is fiber.
Something like that, yeah. 2110 is an okay branding.
Yeah.
I can live with that. But otherwise, it's like, you need a buzzword. This is a terrible buzzword. But so like they're running it as Apple ProRes over that format through this whole system is just nuts.
Yeah.
How much data is being processed.
Yeah, it's wild.
And it was wild. I'm like, freaking put the thing on, and it's like, bam, now you're standing on a stick. I'm like looking down. I'm like, that's me. I'm like looking around.
What did you think of the Vision Pro? Was it cool?
It was fine.
The camera was stationary. How so? Did the view change like as you like turned your head?
Yeah.
How far could you look in each direction?
Basically 180 degrees.
Okay.
Yeah, I could look left or right. It was wild, like super, super cool.
And the image quality pretty good?
It was fine. Like it wasn't like seeing, but it was like decent. It was like okay.
Well, and also keep in mind, like the Vision Pro has so much stuff associated with, getting the right face interface and calibrating it to you, and obviously you didn't do any of that.
Right. I kind of like ballparked the eye focus, and it's like a close enough demo kind of thing. Yeah. Probably not full image quality that I was experiencing, but apparently they did like a Lakers game like this on the Vision Pro last NBA season, and so this has been out and like even before announcement as like a product that has been feeding Apple Vision Pro.
That does not surprise me
type
at all.
Stuff. Which is all really cool, but going through the demo for this was wild. And it's really neat that this kind of thing with all the throughput of stuff that they're developing works.
While you were doing that, I was talking to the guy there, and I said, did you guys do all this for Apple, or do you have other uses in mind? And he was really vague about it. And he was like, well, the Vision Pro is like kind of like the best version of, this immersive video thing. And I was like, okay, I get it. But he was saying, Apple's kind of the best one, but like we've made, a system that can kind of work with anything.
Sure.
And so, reading between the lines, like Apple is far and away their main customer for this right now.
Seems that way.
But, they're not like locked into Apple. I mean, if somebody else made a similar goggle, then they could, produce content for that.
Apple enabled this infrastructure to be built because they needed it for their product. But Oculus comes strolling in and says, let's do a thing.
Yeah.
There's no reason that any of this can't just feed out to an Oculus or something.
Or make content for something like the Sphere, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason it can't. There's nothing Apple proprietary at all in this stack. Yeah. And like Blackmagic just comes rolling in with the whole stack, right? Yeah. They came out with, there's the Fairlight Live thing, but like new ATEMs and switches and HyperDecks and like a media dock and all this stuff that supports 2110 and like blah, blah, blah. And it's just all has the throughput and is all built around the standards needed for this high data rate product. And like, honestly, that's like the cool thing about Blackmagic and their company. And it's something like we've talked about before, which is like the cameras have always felt like a means to get throughput into the system.
And they have like this whole end-to-end ecosystem.
Yeah, but like that's what they sell is like, here's an end-to-end ecosystem. And I think that, I mean, like the new Media Dock is a perfect example of this because they came out with this like, it's like Media Dock Ultra or whatever. And it fits the media modules from the Ursa.
Yeah, there's like reusing that part.
Yeah, so it's like, it's the same stupid whatever M2 drive part that supports like whatever 8 terabytes or something. And like, you can just like dock it into this thing. So you like, here's a media storage solution that has, you know, all of this, you know, network capabilities. So you can write to it. And so that you're like writing and like from your hyperdeck or whatever, however that works. But it's just like the same thing. And so maybe you have a bunch of modules for that, and you also have an Ursa, and now you can like swap between the two, and you're not having to buy new storage media for this and that. And it's just like all in that Blackmagic ecosystem, and like they reuse these things in different products in a way that's not just like, I'm just using that over again, but more of like it seems to benefit the user.
Yeah, this was one of the first times I've heard of 100 gig. Network connections.
Daniel's been around since like 2009. Where have you been?
I know, right? And you know, like they've released so many products that support that, and like the HyperDeck's really cool, where you can record, you know, 8 4K streams, you know, over 100 gig connection.
Unbelievable. Cool. It's wild that it's like one plug. So if you're running, you know, from you got a HyperDeck over here, and you have your whole broadcast solution over there, you can run one cable.
Yeah.
And deliver 8 4K angles all at once.
And then can't you like edit with Resolve while it's recording?
Yeah, like that's the whole cool thing with the HyperDeck. It's like it's for live with replay. So it can be just re-recording, and while it's recording to the HyperDeck, you can be pulling that footage live into Resolve, doing recaps, and then sending that back out to your broadcast center.
That's super cool.
It's just wild. It's so cool that it can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think they came out with, I mentioned the switcher, they came out with like a new ATEM 4 or whatever. And the cool thing about this one is that as a part of like that 2110 solution is it delivers everything in sync asynchronously, if that makes sense. So like your audio, like this is the whole advantage of this like system is a lot of stuff is SDI in the broadcast world, but that's like a signal that's like coded or time coded or whatever, and it's like audio and video. But if you're doing IP based with this 2110 solution, it'll deliver like audio, video, and data as separate streams.
Yeah.
And so you can get like your time code information, like your alpha, your video, and your audio, and you can take all those and do separate things with them because they're coming in separately. And they're coming in asynchronously, but they're also kept in sync because of timestamps. It's just like wild what they're doing, and the new ATEM like supports this whole workflow. Yeah,
you kind of have to have that with these sort of network solutions because network communications kind of known to be unreliable. You know, you can drop packets, things can get delayed, and when you're thinking about, you know, pulling in video from multiple sources, if you're doing broadcast stuff, you need it to all be in sync. You know, you can't have one camera being 10 frames behind because there was some network lag. And so they've got to have solutions for that. And, you know, seeing like this end-to-end stuff that Blackmagic has done, they've obviously, you know, solved those problems and can handle all these streams over, you know, over the network and still make sure everything syncs up.
Yeah.
So pretty cool.
It was all really cool. It was cool to see a lot of that stuff. And then also kind of, like, hey, we're using it over here and like on these cameras, and here's this Vision Pro setup and all that jazz.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
What else did we see as far as broadcast things?
We briefly saw Synology.
that was like one of the first ones we went by. I'm like, what do you guys got going on? And
they were like, here's, you know, $4 million of NVMe drives.
They don't sell the drives, Daniel. Well, actually, they do sell the drives. They make you sell the drives.
That's right.
Maybe that's their strategy. Anyways, well, it is their strategy. But okay, they came out with this new like this is our PAS 77 whatever 7700, however you want to call it.
7700 is the way most people would say that number.
Look, Daniel, 7700. Numbers are hard today.
2110, 770.
Whatever. But this thing was nuts. Didn't he say it had 400 gigabit Ethernet connections on the back?
Yeah, like 100 Ethernet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Four ports, each 100 gigs. Yeah.
Unbelievable. This thing has 30 gigabyte per second throughput.
He was showing, you know, you can edit and resolve basically over the network. Like
Yeah.
it was in a network rack over there, and he was editing, 4K video in Resolve.
Yeah, and that wasn't even the fast one. This one's even
Yeah.
faster. But he's like, this thing's coming out this summer. It's rack mounted. It supports up to 1.65 petabytes of NVMe drives.
With a P. Yeah.
And I'm like, at $100 a terabyte, that's $165,000 of drives that you could put in this thing.
If you can find them, if you can find that much storage.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to see Synology there selling their business solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And this, 7700 new, rack mounted Synology product they have coming out is like, it's nuts. And it feels like this is the kind of thing that feeds into a lot of those broadcast workflows.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did ask, do you have to use their drives? They said, yes, for this product, you must use our drives.
Daniel, they didn't exactly say yes. They said, well, you see. Blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And we're like, we get it.
Yep.
We get it. That was fun. Anyway, we also talked to Red at the Nikon booth.
Yeah.
Had a guy doing like trick basketball shots, and they had a bunch of cameras set up.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I never think about Red for broadcast. I think about Red for cinema stuff.
For sure. Yeah. This really surprised me.
And the guy was like, no, Red is for broadcast, and everybody loves our stuff for broadcast, and let me tell you why.
Yeah.
And that
when I asked him why, that was the first thing I asked, is like, what is the reason people would use a Red camera for broadcast?
Wildly interesting, and it all made total sense.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's like, they have a bunch of different models, and they came out with like the broadcast CST module or whatever, like a couple years ago. But he said that, whether it be like an 8K Super 35 or a VRaptor or VRaptor XL, it seemed like you could use all of these.
Mm-hmm.
But his big selling point was like, it's a global shutter.
Well, he did say the color. He said people like the color.
Okay, yeah, sure. They're like, red color, love it. I'm like, what? Like when I was like, what is it delivering? It's like red raw. Does it look like red raw with your LUT on it? Like, he said there's a few different options. Like you could get like a true Rec 709. You could get like the red look or whatever, which is cool. But it seemed like the global shutter was a huge advantage because of screens.
LED wall type screens.
Yeah, LED walls, things like that, and just not having to deal with flicker at all.
Yeah, and banding and all that kind of stuff.
And then I was asking him about, does it do the alpha thing where like you can send the alpha or whatever output and capture in, because this thing can capture 8K 120.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, yeah, you can do 8K 60 on dual streams and then split the screen out. Because like they do that for that video wall with all the shows, like, the whatever, like Mandalorian, that whole thing, where it's like they're shooting on one camera and they're capturing the wall literally flickers. It cycles between a blue screen and an image. So the actors can kind of like see the background that they're working on.
Yeah.
And then, but you can capture a blue screen or a green screen or whatever, and it just passes the two different streams out.
Yeah, so when you're editing, you take the one with the blue screen, and then you can do all your CGI stuff.
And the thing with this is they're like, you can broadcast, you can just do two different ads.
Yeah.
Like he was like churches with lyrics. Like you have a screen, maybe you have a screen in the space, and you just do like lyrics up, lyrics off, lyrics up.
Yeah.
And you send the lyrics off version out to broadcast, and the broadcast puts different languages up.
Yeah.
And he's like, they can sell twice as many ads.
Yeah. That's what he's saying about the ad thing. Is he said the tech guys want it because it's cool, and then the marketing guys here, they can sell twice as many ads, and they're like, whatever this costs, buy it.
Which is just wild.
Yeah, I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Yeah, the fact that they can do different ads for different market sectors, enabled because of the camera, and so that you can still have ads like on the baseball field or whatever, so that the people there are seeing it, but then also be able to broadcast different ads to all your
like
market.
Relevant ads to whatever market is seeing it.
Crazy. Yeah. Like, I didn't even think about that. And he's like, yeah, people love it for that reason, because like it's not going to flicker when you see the screen, so it looks like it's live, but we're like you can control those things in post. And like the global shutter enables all of this stuff, plus you get red color, plus these things are crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Pretty compelling.
Man. No, I don't know of another camera that's really doing that.
Yeah.
Like, can you do like 120 or 60 like that off of an Ursa and do the dual feed? Not the Ursa, an Alexa and do the dual feeds?
I don't know. Can they record that fast? Like, can they do 8K 120.
Alexa's always been about image quality. I don't think Red's always been the one pushing the spec. I know for sure Blackmagic doesn't compete like that. It's a totally different cost proposition and like profile.
Most of Blackmagic stuff is not global shutter. That's the other problem.
So I mean, you think about Red as like, oh, they push the specs and blah blah blah, but this one specific use case was like, oh wow, the cost or value option for broadcast with a Red camera is wild.
Yeah, it really did. It made perfect sense after he explained it. But yeah, I just always imagined Red being used for cinema. Didn't think about it being used for broadcast.
Yeah, it sounds like you just man, why doesn't just everybody shoot Red?
That's what I wonder.
Whew.
Why don't we shoot Red?
Money, Daniel.
Money.
The answer is money.
If you'd like to support the Camera Gear podcast, you can subscribe to us on Patreon. It's only $3 a month, and you'll get early access to episodes, longer pre-shows, and occasional bonus content like written reviews of gear or maybe some photos we've taken on one of our recent adventures. This really does help us pay the bills and keeps this show running, and we'd love to have your support. You can find out more at patreon.com/cameragearpodcast, or there's also a link in the description for this episode. Thanks for listening, and now back to the show. We're going to need a lot of people to subscribe to that Patreon so that we can buy a Red camera.
Sure, I'm down. Deal. If someone just wants to send us a Red camera, that's fine too.
That would also.
They're like, hey, I got a spare helium just lying around, Monstro.
Yep.
I'll take it.
Yeah,
sure.
Send it on by.
Okay, there was a company called Shotku, and they had two.
I think it's Shatoku. There's an extra O in there.
You're right. Anyway, I was walking down the stairs coming from the Panasonic booth, and I walk past this thing, and it's just like it looks like a, golly, there's a TV or a movie that has something similar. Now I'm trying to place it. Whatever. It had a monitor that's showing you with a camera above it, and it's like this podium thing. And it's just like a little drone deal, and it's just like moving.
Yeah, it's like on a big Roomba base type thing.
And I'm like walk past this thing, and it just kind of starts following me. And
it's
then
like turning and moving across the floor.
Yeah, it's like moving and turning and like going up and down and zooming in. And I'm just like running back and forth, just like goofing off, making this thing follow me.
It was keeping up.
It was really, really good. The guy on the booth just like laughing at me. That thing was wild.
It was pretty cool.
It's anyways, that one is called the Robo Pedestal, and it can go up and down. It can track you and follow, like if just standing still, it can zoom in and out, focus, pan left and right, and tilt up and down.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, it's on wheels. It can drive around.
Yeah, I mean, he said it has to be like a pretty firm floor. You know, you're not putting this on carpet.
Yeah, because they had like a flat surface over the carpet.
Yeah.
And he was like, even this is a little tough. So flooring on top of carpet, still hard. It had a light on the floor, and it was like following the light, but you don't have to like do like a rail system or a light system or whatever. You can kind of just like program the path. But he was doing that to show that like, hey, this is the path we programmed, and this is where it's limited. Yeah. So you could see it like stay within the bounds of the path that it's defined.
Exactly. Yeah.
This thing was nuts.
It was really cool.
It was crazy.
It's like a we talked earlier in the show about the PTZ cameras that track people. This is like that on steroids.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And apparently like they do it for news shows and stuff like all the time. Where it's like we just pop this thing in, and it just follows them around and does the whole thing. And
really cool.
That was really, really cool.
They had that one on the jib.
Yeah, that was the new one, and that's the Swoop.
Ooh, cool.
And it's basically a jib on wheels.
And it does all this like smart tracking stuff too.
Yeah, it does the same thing as the pedestal, but on a jib, which is crazy.
Yep.
And he's like, and you can set like safe boundaries, so it doesn't like knock people over or run into anybody or whatever.
LiDAR sensors all over it or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, can you turn those off? Maybe the shot's more important than someone's safety. And he said yes.
I think he nervously looked over at it, and he was like, I'm pretty sure we turned them off. He kind of like backed away a little bit. It's like, actually, I think we turned those off while we were setting up for the show.
Yeah, I think you can also get these things that go on rails, but I mean, this is one of those things where it's like, no, Well, maybe not. I don't know what people do, but probably nobody listening to this is going to go out and like order a Shotoku.
Yeah, probably true.
Maybe.
Maybe
I don't
somebody's
know.
already using one.
Could be. I mean, like they don't even advertise prices for this thing. You go like talk to the guy, and they give you a quote. This is not for like your house,
but it's still. I mean, the fact it always starts that way, and then it does get cheaper and more accessible. And this is I've spent so much time running broadcast camera, tracking someone back and forth walking across the stage. I'm sure you've thought the same thing. It's like, why can't an AI do this? Like, surely AI can just track. And like, it can.
I feel like this is the perfect thing to market to YouTubers.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all those YouTubers who like, they're like, oh yeah, I set up my studio and I gotta like put the camera on the tripod, or I gotta hold it, or I gotta get someone to film me. If they got one of these things, it could follow them around. It could track them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have to worry about any of this stuff. They just like light the room. They just like turn on the robot. And it'll like follow them and like get all the cool like moving panning shots. So it'd make the videos way more dynamic.
Yeah, it's true.
I think all of your like 1 million+ subscriber YouTube channels need a Shotoku like pedestal
Maybe
robot.
that's the market they haven't considered.
Like, I don't know why MKBHD doesn't have one of these. He's got a robot camera thing. He could put his red camera on this.
True. That's because he has a whole staff of people.
Look, Marquez, if you're listening to this right now.
For one thing, please email us.
Second thing, you got to check this thing out. Like right now. Okay. You talked to Hollyland. We went to the Hollyland booth and I got bored really quickly.
Yeah.
But you were talking to the guys and you were like talking about these like wireless video monitors, and I found the camera that it was projecting and I was like making faces at it.
Yeah, you were.
While you were talking. That was really amusing to me.
Yeah.
What did you get out of it? I think the main thing was the tally lights.
Yeah. I mean, I talked to them about some of the video transmission stuff because they had one that does camera control. Like, so it's a monitor you put on the camera. It can do camera control, so you can set focus and stuff from the monitor. But then it also had a wireless transmitter on it to transmit, to another receiver. Pretty cool. It took me a long time to get the answers I had about that from the people. But you mentioned the wireless tally. So this is not something I knew Hollyland made, but Hollyland's one of those companies that, like, I feel like kind of just came on the scene a few years ago, and they started with those wireless transmission systems, and they've kind of been expanding since then. One thing they've gotten into is broadcast headsets. So, on any larger production or even like a film set, you might have all your people wearing headsets that you can communicate and call out shots and stuff. And they've been getting into that. They have some pretty cool products there, but they also had this wireless tally light system that was interesting to me because we've talked on this show a few times recently about the version we set up with Tally Arbiter. And this is basically a like a real product that does something very similar. And so it seemed pretty cool. It's like they have a little box that you would plug in. They had a couple of different ways you could connect it, but it's kind of made to connect to something like an ATEM or various other systems. And it's feeding the information of which which channel is active, like which camera you have active, feeds into the box. And then the box has 2.4 gigahertz and sends out a wireless signal to these other little receivers. And they have these little like wireless tally light receivers that each have a USB port on it and a built-in battery that lasts for like 8 hours or something. You set each one to what channel it is. So you could say like, this one's channel 4 or this one's camera 4. And then it has a big light on the top that would light up, when that camera is live. And so you can put it on top of your camera. It looks like it's visible from the front and the back. So if you are the operator, that's helpful. But also, sometimes if you picture like a news broadcast or something, sometimes it's helpful for the talent to know which camera is live because they might want to look at that camera, talk into it. And so
yeah, for sure.
Tally light can be good for that. So it seemed like a cool system. I think
it seems like a real official solution.
Yeah.
Tally lights can be expensive systems. I would expect that this is probably like on the more economical side.
I think so. And what's really nice about this one is that it's wireless.
Yeah.
So Blackmagic, for example, has support for Tally. A lot of Blackmagic studio monitors have Tally lights built in, but you have to run a second SDI line to each of your cameras,
Ugh.
which, depending if you're like, say you're at like a big stadium or a church or something like that, could be really involved and expensive to do.
Especially if you didn't think about doing it at the start.
Exactly. And so this is a nice solution because it's wireless.
Yeah, it's easier to add after the fact or add to other cameras. It's definitely way more expensive than doing it yourself, but it has downsides of like, I mean, you don't have to run a separate computer for this, right? Like it's all self-contained. Right. And so like the cost of the ones that you set up it's like you have to have a computer also.
Yep.
And it's maybe a little more reliable because it's like doing its own network thing and you're not relying on
I think it's likely to be more reliable. I think the units are nicer.
Yeah.
The actual things. So I think it's $650 for 4 channels, like $1,000 for 8 channels.
That's not bad.
It supports, I think you can get like additional tally things. Like I think it supports more than the 8.
Yeah.
I definitely took note of this, as we use our tally arbiter system, if it seems like it's, falling down at some point, I'll just, we'll get this instead because it's a pretty cool solution.
It does seem like a pretty good solution. Anything else that was worth talking about from broadcast standpoint from Hollyland? I know that they had like a bunch of mics and a bunch of wireless monitors, so I didn't know if any of that mattered.
I mean, not really. I feel like, I mentioned they had the audio headsets, which I think are cool, but most of the wireless transmission stuff, I mean, you can use it for broadcast. We use Teradex for some of that stuff, but I don't know. Personally, I'm always thinking about like cinema stuff with that. You're on a film set, somebody's pulling focus, you want a wireless thing.
Yeah, that was all cool. Other things, we already talked about the BMI smoke stuff. We're just going to go ahead and skip over that topic. These other ones are maybe like a little more grab baggy. We mentioned, I think, last episode about the new Zhiyun light, but I wanted to throw a little more in here because I thought this was super, super fun.
Cool.
This new,
because I have the X100.
I really like what Zhiyun's doing with their economical lights, and like the Mala stuff is just getting better and better. I do think that there's a lot of appeal in going with maybe like an Amaran solution because they just came out with that Sidus Link Pro app that we're going to talk about.
Play with that.
That's like a little down the road because I want to like try it out and we'll mess with it. But they're like, you can just do all this. Like, there's some integration stuff that like Amaran can do that maybe Zhiyun isn't doing that makes it a little more interesting. And I still think that you're getting slightly better quality lights out of other,
meaning like in terms of like the CRI or the TLCI.
Yeah. Like this new Giant, the X200 RGB, which they came out with, it's no slouch. It's a 95 CRI, which is like okay for a video light. You kind of want it to be a little better. I went back and looked at my Godox 150 VL, which is still like that's not a super expensive light. I mean, it's a mid-range, low end. But that one's 96 CRI. And it's like an older light. So, but the TLCI is the one maybe a little more important for video, and this is a 97 TLCI. So that's like pretty good as far as video lights.
Would be perfect.
Yeah, so it's like not the best color reproduction, but it's above 92, above 93. So it's like good.
Yeah,
just not great. And then the TLCI is pretty good. So like it's a solid light from a color reproduction standpoint, and gives you so many options in addition to being like super mega tiny. It's like 200 watts.
Yeah. One thing I really like about their lighting design, and we're starting to see other brands do this too. I think Amaran has something similar, but they, it's like the size of like a large cell phone.
Yeah.
And it's that shape too. And so
rectangular.
It's really
is the shape you're looking for.
It's really flat is what I'm getting at though. Like when you put your softbox or something on it, it does not stick out much backward from that. And if you're trying to film in like a tight room or something, I feel like sometimes some of those, like your 150 watt light, like it's pretty bulky behind the softbox, and that does kind of limit like how close you could get it to a wall or something.
Sure, but it also makes it be a lot quieter because it has more cooling potential.
That's true. But I don't know, you can get these into some tight spaces.
I think a lot of the shape of lights for a long time has been driven by cooling and the bulb type and doing like tungsten and that sort of thing. And with the advent of LED and that becoming predominant in the lighting world, it took a while. So it first started with like just put LEDs in our existing product shapes. Yeah. And then we started seeing innovations on types of things. And that's why you see a lot more like, here's a light panel and here's this thing like the Malus where it's a very different shape, but for interesting reasons and useful reasons. This thing's like 830 grams. So it's like 2 pounds or whatever, but that's still pretty light.
830. Yeah, I guess that's a little under 2 pounds. Yeah.
I can almost do conversions, Daniel. Give me a hard time about that.
The battery solution for this one's really cool, though.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, but the V-mount thing is just super, super fun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they just give you all the options. In addition to like here's this V-mount power adapter that you just click on there into the V-mount thing and you plug it into a wall. If you run out of if you don't have a wall and you don't have an extra V-mount battery.
Did you just say if you don't have a wall?
Yeah, you don't have a wall with a plug on it, and maybe you had a V-mount on, and you ran out of juice, and you're like, what am I going to do? You can put the power adapter on there. You can plug in USB-C, and it'll support up to 18 watts on USB-C if you need to.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They have a Bowens mount reflector that you can like screw onto this thing. It's really shallow, but it like will reflect the light and give quote unquote 500 watt equivalent.
Well, maybe if you needed to like bounce off of something useful.
What's nice to be able to stick a reflector on there and get roughly like twice the light concentration.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty stinking cool.
Yep.
And it's like $370.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the options are just getting better.
I would strongly look at this if I was looking to add another light.
Mm-hmm.
There's been a few times where 150 watts wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really appreciate having a 300 plus watt light.
Yeah, I agree. What's nice about lights like this too is you can easily kind of take it with you as a bonus light because it's so small.
Yeah,
you can just slide this into your backpack.
I mean, this thing would just fit in my current light case. Like I have this huge giant light case for my VL150.
Mm-hmm.
This would fit in like the little side pocket. It's as big as there's a power adapter thing, like that power, like you connects all of the little XLR style cables, little control box. This light is as big as a control box.
Yeah.
You can just like put it. It's very cool.
It is.
It's just very, very cool. What else did we see? Oh, Daniel, I didn't know Bright Tangerine was a manufacturer of anything.
Yeah. I've never heard of that brand.
I'm really into it now because the name of it's called Bright Tangerine.
Yeah, it's a pretty good name.
I think it's a good name. So I was like looking at all their stuff. And they make expensive cinema things for cinema cameras.
Yeah. They're all like weird and skeletonized.
They make like Pixis products.
Oh.
So you like rig out your Pixis with all kinds of stuff. Look at all kinds of stuff, Daniel. There's like plates and cages and matte boxes, and that's cool.
Yeah.
I tried out a Burano and it had their shoulder pad on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what kind of shoulder pad is this? Not that I'm ever going to buy a shoulder pad because I am just really, really not a shoulder mount person.
It's because you're too tall.
It makes everything, it's like, why would I ever want to shoot down on anything like this?
Yeah. Yep. They make more sense for me than for you.
People are really into shoulder mounts, especially for cinema rig stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I am always offended. They're like, don't you want a shoulder mount? And I'm like, don't talk to me. Get out of here with that garbage.
You're just too tall.
Too tall, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, the shoulder pad was really neat. That was the main thing, and I really don't have anything else here except for this company exists.
Yeah,
this is a public service announcement.
You know, I kind of felt that way a lot of times at NAB. You know, walking around like companies like Marshall and Bolin. You know, like I really haven't thought of too much with gear, and it's there's just this whole world out there of companies making camera gear products that we haven't really looked into.
Yeah, I mean, like next time I'm looking for something from Tilta or from Small Rig, I may also cross shop at Bright Tangerine.
Why not?
Why not?
I think you should.
I think I should too. Okay, last thing for broadcast is this Good Luck LED wall.
This was so cool.
This one we should like throw a video on Instagram. This thing was just nuts, and it wasn't like that exciting of a thing. It was an LED wall. We've all seen an LED wall, right? The panels. You put the panels together, you make a big giant panel thing. Which, when we were talking to these people, they said that you can make this as big as you want.
Yeah, I mean, I think they said that like 4 or 5 times.
Look, they said you can make it as big as you want, and I was like actually as big as I want, like for real big as I want, like Jerry Jones as big as I want. And they didn't say no. They just encouraged me to continue to give examples of larger sizes of things, and they were like, "Yeah, that big, because we can do it." I was like, imagine if they put one of these things on the side of a Las Vegas building.
I know.
That would be insane.
That would.
Because what was weird about this is that the each panel could move.
How big were the panels? Like, say, maybe 1 foot by 1 foot?
Yeah. Call it, I don't know, 25 centimeters. Is that how that works? Yeah.
It's a little less than a foot.
Yeah, sure. Call it like 30 centimeters by 30 centimeters or something, like a foot by foot. And each panel could move roughly 6 inches in and out.
Like toward or away from the wall.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And so they had like doing like these pulsing things, like moving in and out with the it was just like the most ridiculous
you could
thing.
have like a number, like say you put the number 2 on the screen. The panels for that number could pop out.
Yeah.
Like to make it really stand out. And that, I feel like eventually you're going to see stuff like that at shows like NAB. Because
for sure.
You could not walk by that and not have your attention grabbed by it.
Yeah, it was really cool. Totally
nuts. This sounds dumb when we describe it, but it was really cool.
It was really, really cool. And these things are going to, like, who knows? Maybe these things will be everywhere. You're like walking through the freaking airport or something, and it's like, do the wave.
It's like popping out at you.
I'm going to hate it. Whenever it's actually like in the real world and like forcing my attention to look like an ad or something, I'm going to be really mad about it.
But it was fun at NAB.
But seeing it at NAB was pretty stupid cool. Especially since they will literally sell me as big as I want. Like literally as big as I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how much that would cost.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it. Like that Shotoku robot.
Exactly.
It was cool seeing all the broadcast stuff. I always feel a little out of my depth when we look at that stuff because I mean we do a little bit of broadcast, but that's not between the two. We're more in like we're closer to like the cinema world and the broadcast world in terms of like things we know about.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so much with switchers and NDI and all that stuff that we know a little bit about and not a lot about. But there was a lot of really cool stuff there. And I feel like even just walking around the show and, seeing the booths and talking to the people, I felt like I learned stuff. And it's a lot of neat technology. I did feel like everybody we talked to is very, like people in that industry are really helpful, in terms of everybody was like, hey, if you're interested in this, like, let's talk more about it. Like we can figure out how it would work in your setup. Like people were like really willing to, like help you get started with it, like learn more. I mean, obviously they're at a show like this, they're going to be that way, but it just seemed like a very like welcoming community, I guess.
For sure. The reason I got into cameras is like, I like technology and I like, like when things can change in interesting ways. And like phones were cool in like the 2010s and such because like they had different processors and they were experimenting on features and all this sort of stuff.
It was advancing every year.
And I feel like that's kind of like stagnated. And the cameras were really interesting for that reason. And like, I guess like in some way, like mirrorless cameras have kind of reached peak camera, but also with like everything we've talked about, it seems like there's still so far to go.
Yeah. Especially if you go beyond like just the camera, like if you start looking at all like the rigging and all that. But
also like each company's doing something different. I mean, we did like a whole deep dive on why Canon's sensors are different than Sony's.
Yeah.
And it's like they're all innovating in different ways with like, here our colors look different, or our autofocus is different, our sensor technology is different, or like blah, blah. And so like I think cameras are really interesting just from they're technologically interesting.
Yeah.
And like you mentioned last episode or a couple ago, so we were talking to someone about the show and they're like, you guys are never run out of things to talk about. And one of like the big highlights with like the broadcast stuff and NAB is there's so many different categories of camera nerdery that like we're just like Camera Gear Podcast, and the individual silos that you could even further whatever niche down to.
For sure.
There's so many. Like you could just be in the like telescope camera world and that could be like its whole thing.
Yeah.
And broadcast is like that, and like camera rigging and like cinema cameras and just like straight up photography and like I love that there's all these different little silos. And that was one of the cool things with NAB is like you find a lot of these companies that are within their own little silo of like the camera nerdery world. And it's fun to be able to kind of like ask questions and go a little deeper on each of those. And you get, it's like a buffet of sampling platter where you can learn a little bit about each of the like parts of camera stuff that people find interesting.
Yeah. Well, and like, you kind of get to explore a little bit and, see some of these areas that maybe you were totally unfamiliar with. Maybe you don't even know that there were products in certain spaces. And, maybe that some of that stuff that caught our eye that might be fun to like dig into more in the future. So
for sure. But I think we can both agree though that like all the audio people that were there are all weird.
What do you mean by the audio people?
There was just a lot of like audio people, like audio only people.
You think so?
Yeah, those people are weird.
That's it for the show today. Thanks for joining us, and if you liked it, tell a friend so they can check it out too. You can find out more about the show at www.cameragearpodcast.com, and you can find us on Twitter at CameraGearPod. We'll be back with more next week.